What is up, good people? It's your best friend, it's your brother, your boy, your cousin, your nephew, your uncle, Brandon Thomas here once again. If you didn't know already, the election is finally here, and I couldn't let the big day pass without taking a moment to add my little voice to the conversation. So today I'm bringing you the 5 reasons that I've already voted for Kamala Harris, and why you should too, if you haven't done so already. But before we get into it, you know what the drill is. Hit the subscribe button just below the screen if you don't mind, and share this video with an undecided voter who you love, but you're tired of trying to persuade to vote and take action tomorrow. I'm happy to do it on your behalf. And you also know that I appreciate every single like, every single comment, every single share that helps us to master the YouTube algorithm and get this in front of the folks who need to see it the most. And with that, let's get into it. First reason that I've already voted for Kamala Harris for president is because she supports small businesses. Did you know that? Small business owners, at that. And it's not just in words, it's also in her actions. I'm not even talking about the policies she's proposed should she become the president, and I certainly hope that she would, but you know, talk is cheap. Anybody can make promises. I like to look at people's track records and their actions in the past. And so I'm also talking about that, because Kamala Harris has pushed for programs that make it easier for small businesses to access capital, and she's also advocated for tax relief specifically aimed at entrepreneurs trying to make it in their communities. When COVID-19 hit, she was right there fighting for more funding to keep the little guys, little girls, little theys and thems afloat, ensuring that small business grants and loans reached minority-owned businesses, which we know are often hit the hardest in times like COVID-19. So for me, this is more than just a simple economics lesson. It's about preserving the livelihoods of folks who form the backbone of our economy and our communities. As you may have already heard, Kamala Harris is also supporting a new $50,000 tax credit for new small business owners. $50,000 tax credit. So my father was an entrepreneur and a business owner, and I, tried to take on that tradition in my own right, in my own regard. And when I first started my businesses, my tax credit, 5 G's. It's 2024. So you try to start a business in 2024 and tell me whether or not you can do so with $5,000. Your startup costs will exceed $5,000 real quick, fast, and in a hurry. So the fact that Kamala Harris understands this and is trying to enact a policy that would increase that by $45,000 from $5K to $50K means she understands what small business owners need. Maybe you're not someone who wants to start a small business, at least not right now, but you may want to in the future. And another little pin that I'll put in this little point right here. I've heard a lot of folks say, well, that's great for small business owners, but I'm not a new small business owner. How is that going to benefit me? What these policies point to is the kind of president that Kamala Harris would be. And at the end of the day, what I know is that it's not just about me and mine. It's also about those who come after me. And so even though I could say, well, that doesn't benefit me as a person who already owns a business, that would be pretty selfish. And that's not the view of the world that I espouse. I want a world where those who come after me have it better than I have. So I want to make choices today that fosters or creates the kind of world where all humans can flourish. And so I refuse to be selfish this election and say, well, that doesn't benefit me directly, because indirectly it does. If we have more small business owners starting new businesses, that stimulates the economy. That creates jobs. So indirectly, it actually does benefit me, but I've already spent too much time there, and I said I wasn't going to be here very long. So let me move on. Reason number 2, and you already should know what this is. It should have been reason number 1, reproductive freedom. And again, I'm not just talking about the past, I'm talking about the present and the future. Kamala Harris has been a vocal advocate for protecting a woman's right to choose for a long time. She got street cred. She co-sponsored the Women's Health Protection Act to federally protect access to reproductive health care, and has consistently stood up to state-level restrictions aimed at chipping away at the fundamental right of a woman to choose. And it's not just lip service. Kamala's focus on equity means she's working to address the maternal mortality crisis, especially among Black women, to ensure access to quality care isn't a privilege, but a right. Now, I know some folks were saying this reproductive freedom thing, this reproductive justice thing, that's not about me. I'm a man. I'm cisgender. I don't have a uterus. I'm not going to have a baby. But baby, it does impact you. For any man who sleeps with women, for any man that's married to a woman, for any person who may have a baby through the penetrative act, it applies to you. For any person who has a mother, for any person who has a daughter, for any person who has an aunt, a cousin, a best friend who's a woman, it applies to you. And what I want folks to realize is, and I made a commitment not to talk about the Republican Party, Donald Trump, or MAGA in this video, but I'm going to break that promise because I have to draw a contrast. There is one political party that is trying to take that right away. They've already done so. They reversed Roe v. Wade, settled the law. And there's another party, the Democratic Party, and its candidate, Kamala Harris, that is advocating to reinstate those rights. Now, what I know is that it's a slippery slope when you start to remove people's freedoms. If they can tell a woman what to do with her body, it's only a matter of time before they try to start deciding ways to tell me what to do with mine. There's a correlation between women and people of color and other minoritized populations. So if you don't see yourself wrapped up inside this and you're a person of color or belong to some other minoritized demographic, let me tell you something, baby. When they start taking rights away from one population, they come in for yours next. So you might think this doesn't apply to you, but it is very much about you. But back to the main program. I'm sorry, I said it was going to be short, but I'm getting a little preachy. I'm sorry. Let's get to Kamala Harris's qualifications, and this one is hard to overstate. My third reason for voting for Kamala Harris is because the resume is resumeing, honey. Kamala Harris has served as a senator. She served as the Attorney General of California. She was also the DA in the state of California before that. And don't forget, she's currently our vice president. She's led investigations. She's crafted legislation and taken on Big Pharma. When we talk about professional readiness, she's got that in spades. She understands the issues from multiple perspectives. She has experience in the judicial side of the house. She has experience in the executive part of the house. She has experience in the legislative part of the house. She's covered all three branches of government. She's done it at the state level in California, a state economy that is larger than some countries' economies around the world. She's got experience in spades. And when she talks about justice or economic reform, you know it's coming from hands-on experience. It's not just some abstract idea. I said I wasn't going to contrast. I should do a separate video about why I'm not voting for Trump. But I don't want to give that man any more of my time. He is trying to extend his tax code, which, baby, look at the research. If you are in the lower part of the earning bracket in America, it's going to cost you more money. He's talking about these tariffs, right? Every economist, even the conservative economists who support him as president, say that what he's proposing in the way of tariffs would lead to the average American having an extra $4,000 a year in expenses. I ain't got it. Do you got it? If you want an extra $4,000 in expenses a year, you go ahead and do that. Mark Cuban said it best. Christmas is going to be real expensive come 2025. It's going to be real expensive come 2025. I've done taken that from Kamala. She likes to say things twice. I'm going to say them twice too. Christmas is going to be real expensive come 2025. So be mindful of that. Kamala has first-hand experience in governing at every single level in every single branch of government. And Donald Trump has what? Failed businesses. Donald Trump has what? Lies, stunts, and shows. I'm going to have to do another video. I'm going to have to do it. Number 4, for me, there's the matter of temperament. The thing that no resume bullet can capture is how somebody acts when they show up. That's why in-person interviews or Zoom interviews are so important, because you got to see how somebody translates, right? The bullet points are cute, but how does it show up in person? Kamala Harris brings a steady, unflappable presence to the stage. You've seen it. She's strategic, cool-headed under fire, and she never misses the bigger picture. When I imagine a leader handling a crisis or standing up on the world stage, she's the one I can trust to keep her focused on what's right, even when it's not easy. Can you imagine that other joker doing the same? Let's be honest. He gets so happy when somebody says that they like him that he doesn't know what to do with himself. That's a puppet. Kamala Harris has the temperament that I associate with what it means to be a president. And for those who have an issue with gender, for those who like to say, well, she's a woman, Russia's not going to respect her, China's not going to respect her, She's going to be the president of the United States, baby. She comes with the full force and the full power of America behind her every time she enters the room. And if you think for a second that that's not going to be respected, you silly. Another aside, there's a clip floating around from the Charlemagne interview, the first one, not the one where she called him, but where she was actually in person, where Charlemagne says, "What do you say to folks who say you sure do repeat the same talking points a lot?" And she said, "I say you're welcome." Now, for those of you who, I'm not going to call names, for those of you who didn't, for those who missed it, for those who missed what she said you're welcome because what Donald Trump represents is a leader who cannot stay on message. He's talking about Hannibal Lecter at his rallies. If you missed it, he recently tried to give head to a microphone. He said on the microphone, go look at the clip. I'm not going to put it in here. I don't have any more time for him. She said, you're welcome, because what she called that was discipline. She's a leader with discipline. She's not going to be swayed by what people say. She's not going to be swayed because you got an opinion about her. She's going to stand in the truth of what she knows. And she's going to stand there to do the job she's been called to do. And what y'all missed over the course of the last 90 days or however long she's been in here since the switch is she had to get all this done in the shortest amount of time possible for any presidential candidate ever. And y'all are placing all these demands on her, and she kept meeting every single demand with style, with class, with poise. It was sexy. And y'all still complained about it when you got exactly what you asked for. She has the temperament of a leader. She didn't complain. She hasn't once said that there's a double standard. Now, others have said that for her, but she hasn't communicated that. Others have stated the reality that Donald Trump gets to be lawless and she has to be flawless. But she's never complained once. She's been a leader. Donald Trump, meanwhile, is like, oh, I have to hold a microphone. Why do I have to hold the microphone? I don't even want to be here with you all. I could be on the beach. That's what she means by you're welcome. That's number 4. And reason number 5, which is last, but certainly not least, it's about the kind of person that Kamala Harris is. And from my vantage point, this is the heart of why I and so many others stand with Kamala Harris, is because she fights for human dignity, and her policies reflect that. For example, she has consistently advocated for expanding healthcare access and lowering prescription drug costs, knowing that affordable healthcare is a matter of human dignity. When Barack Obama implemented the Affordable Care Act, there were so many folks who said, why aren't you doing nothing for black people? When he implemented housing reform, folks said, why aren't you doing nothing for black people? My response was, that is for black people. Historically in America, the thing that has kept black folks from earning wealth, the biggest thing that has increased the wealth gap historically, is the inability to enter the housing market. The inability to buy a home. We are throwing money on cars, throwing money down the drain on rent, for something that we won't ever own, that's going to depreciate in value. And Barack Obama said, I'm going to create a pathway to make sure that everybody has the ability to own a home, to increase their earning potential. That's about black people. Black folks, we suffer from many health issues. There's systemic racism in our healthcare system that prevents us from getting the care that we deserve, to which we are entitled. He implemented a policy to ensure you, me, we all had access to healthcare. Don't fall for the okie doke. That was very much about black people. Kamala Harris can't come around here saying, I'm about to make it rain for the black folks. Now, she still sort of did. She said, here's my plan for black men. Here's my plan for Puerto Rican folks. Here's my plan for all of y'all. You want some? I'm making it rain on everybody. She's done that. But the reality is, in this world that we live in, you got to read the subtext, baby. She can't come out and say, here it is for the black people. She can't win on that. And the alternative is going to do what? Take out a full-page ad on the Central Park 5, the Exonerated 5, calling for their deaths, their executions. The alternative is going to do what? Refuse to rent to black folks in the buildings that he owns. The alternative is going to do what? Require black tenants to show proof of income 5 times that of their white counterparts. The alternative is going to do what? Say that all of Puerto Rico is an island of garbage. I know what you're going to say. He didn't say that, but he did. It all is associated with him and his brand. Moving on, though. Back to Kamala Harris. When she talks about family leave, affordable housing, education reform, it's always through the lens of human flourishing. Because when people have the resources that they need, they thrive. She just released additional information about how she wants to expand Medicare to pay for home health care. That is huge. Under the proposal, Medicare beneficiaries would be eligible for the new benefit if they are unable to perform activities of daily living such as bathing, eating, or if they have a serious cognitive impairment such as Alzheimer's disease. Now, this hits home. I know that you may be thinking, I don't need that. That doesn't apply to me, but it does. The biggest thing that sets us back financially as Black folks oftentimes is a lack of access to health care. And so we have something happen to us and we can't take care of ourselves, or something happens to our mom or our dad or our aunt or our grandparent and they can't take care of themselves. And now we have to take off from work, risk losing our jobs to take care of home because family matters. What this proposal says is when and if that happens, Medicare will now pay for someone to come and assist with those activities. You don't have to lose your job. You don't have to change your schedule. You don't have to risk upending your life. And guess what else that does? Creates additional jobs, stimulates the economy, because now folks will go into the home healthcare industry and get those qualifications and certifications to provide home health care, and they'll be compensated to do it. And what is Donald Trump doing on the other side? He still wants to debunk the Affordable Care Act, aka Obamacare. That's all he's been running on. You can fall for the okie doke in the lie if you want to, but it's right there in Agenda 47, which is on his website. Project 2025, Agenda 47, same difference. Agenda 47 is the Cliff's Notes version of Project 2025. Fall for the okie doke if you want to. See what happens. I want to find a tangent because I got a little passionate. I started to say this one hits close to home with the home health care because my grandmother lived with Alzheimer's. And at the end of her life, it impacted our entire family, my aunts, my uncles, my cousins. So she had a person staying at her home. We paid for that out of pocket for my family. And I just think about anyone who's living with someone who's suffering with dementia, Alzheimer's, or other health conditions, and the fact that that can be something that really does interrupt someone's life. It's a painful time. It's a challenging time. Kamala Harris understands that. And she wants to implement a policy to ensure that you can pay for that, not out of your pocket, but through Medicare. Now, I know that I said I had 5 reasons, but I got one more for the road. For me, it's also about seeing myself reflected in leadership. There was a tweet that I saw the other day. I'm still on that deadgum app, Twitter. I'm so sorry, I can't help it. I'll try to find it and put it in here, but I'm not trying to edit this video that much because I don't have that much time. I'm just trying to put this up before Election Day. But it was by the user's name is Ryan A. Fournier. I believe Ryan A. Fournier. It's a picture of Kamala Harris standing in front of an American flag, standing in front of, I think, the flag that has the seal of the president on it. And there's 2 young Black women standing in front of her. She's holding their hands. They have on masks. And Ryan said, perfect photo of why I don't want this woman to be president. Really, Ryan? You hate Black folks so much that you don't even want to see her holding the hands of 2 Black children? What does that mean for you, Ryan? I have an idea about what it means. In fact, I tweeted it. Let me just read my tweet because I don't want to recreate the wheel. Chris Evans posted. If you don't follow Chris Evans, his handle is not Captain America. Go follow him. He's doing the Lord's work on Twitter. My response was to Chris Evans, it's simple. I think it probably means something like, end quote, from the dawn of this country, misogyny and racism have been extremely valuable currencies on which many straight white men have traded. The currency can only maintain its value if Black, Indigenous people of color and women believe the lies we've peddled about them for centuries. We can't let them see that this is possible. We can't allow them to imagine otherwise. I'm just reading my tweet. We cannot allow them to see themselves reflected in the office of the president or politics more broadly for that matter, because if we do, our currency will be too greatly devalued to maintain any sense of efficacy in the world. This is our last chance to ensure they never see themselves reflected in this way again, at least not in this generation. This is our last chance to falsely inflate the value of our racist, sexist currency. This is our last chance to more deeply entrench a white supremacist, heteronormative, increasingly fascist political structure that we can use to further harm against them while gaslighting them into believing that we are the only ones working on their behalf. We cannot let this happen. That's what Ryan was saying. We cannot let her ascend to the highest office in the land. If we do, we'll have to engage in the uncomfortable work of finding a new currency and imagining a world where we aren't at the center, where we aren't on top. And why do that when we could simply oppress them and continue wielding power for our own benefit? Keep them sick, keep them uneducated, keep them poor. Then they'll forever be reliant on our all-powerful benevolence to get their most basic human needs met. Even better, they'll be too unhealthy, too dumb, too financially overextended to fight back. We can't let them see this. It's the perfect photo of why I don't want this woman to be president. I understand the value of what it means to see myself reflected in leadership. Kamala Harris is someone who comes from the same background as I do. I have to believe that impacts her leadership. I have to believe that means she understands my plight a little bit better than Donald Trump could, because we don't come from the same background. She stands up for the communities that I come from. I want my baby cousins. I want the kids in my neighborhood. I want the kids that I used to pastor in youth ministry to grow up knowing that they can have leaders that look like them, that think like them, and who have their backs. And that doesn't take anything away from you, Ryan. It doesn't take anything away from anybody. It simply means that since the beginning of our country, there's only been one black person, biracial person, who was able to achieve the office of president. There haven't been any women. I know that you've always felt like you've been at the center. And so it's hard to understand what it means for you to now take a seat at the table as opposed to standing on top of it. But that's the very reason that I would need her to be president. Because the reality is, black folks is always going to look out for everybody else. It's the role that we've played historically. And if and when we do things that support the most minoritized and the most marginalized in our society, they will inevitably benefit everyone. Because we know that y'all ain't going to give black folks nothing without giving it to the white folks too. So let's be real. I need my people to see what's possible. For those who are saying that a black woman can't possibly lead, that God didn't create the woman to be in this position, we got a whole lot of work to do with you. But a black woman birthed me. A black woman raised me. My daddy was there too. He did some stuff too, but I'm trying to focus on black women right now because my dad be getting offended when I talk about my mama. Bless his heart. Love you, Dad. A black woman birthed me. A black woman raised me. And when the world turned its back on me, it was a black woman that loved me harder than ever. For many black men in the world, when we make decisions, when our life leads us on journeys or on paths where folks want to discount us, where folks want to turn their back on us for any reason, for us loving who we've always wanted to love, or if we fall on hard times, if we're being honest, it's the black women in our lives who love us down. I know what it means to be lifted by the resilience and the strength of black women, because my mother has shown me that. I know what it means for someone not to know exactly how to make sense of who I am and where I fit in the world, but to still love me unconditionally. And I know that's exactly the strength that this country needs right now. I wasn't trying to get emotional, but it's so damn frustrating to hear people that look like me tear Kamala Harris down. We've got enough working against us. We should not be doing this to each other. If you got a black mama, a black auntie, a black grandmother, a black anybody who's ever held you down, then stop saying that shit about Kamala Harris. Wasn't trying to do all that. That's why I'm voting for Kamala Harris. And that's why you should too. That's all I got for the day. I hope that you vote. I hope you have a voting plan once you are in line. If you were in line before the polls close, stay in line. Don't get out of line. Don't let anybody sway you. Take some bottled water, because they can, in Georgia at least, they're not going to let nobody give you no bottled water. I'm going to tell you all, the process in Georgia, Brad Raffensperger and Brian Kemp, they said, nah, Donald, you ain't coming for us. It ain't going to be here. It's not going to be out here, because that process is quick. They got it together. We're going to have our votes counted on election night. and they're going to call the state for Kamala. I name it and claim it, I blab it and grab it. But have your plan. Make sure that you get out there and vote. Call somebody, text somebody, take somebody to the polls who doesn't have transportation. We are in this thing to the end. We're almost there. Shout out to Madam Vice President Kamala Harris. We love you. We appreciate you. We got you. We're going to hold you down for the next 4 years, 8 years. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you don't mind. Share this with somebody who needs to see it. Like, comment, do all the things. Help us master the YouTube algorithm. Until the next time, I'm Brandon Thomas. Peace.